Hello, and welcome to The C Show. We had a very big event happen over the weekend, and I am going to yield our cold open to Connor to talk about one Terrance Brunk, known as Sabu.
I just want to take a minute. It wouldn't be right not to acknowledge his passing. As someone who didn't get to watch him in the original ECW, even just what I saw in the WWECW when he came back and did different things, I thought he was great. You hear people talk about him, especially Rob Van Dam, who was a huge influence on him as they were tag team partners and worked a lot of programs together. Just talk about how he's a good person, right? Did the right things.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to share a couple things about him. First, I just want to give some of his nicknames. He had some very good nicknames. He was the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac, Sabu. People called him ECW's Evil Knievel.
Yeah, I love that comparison. Evil Knievel was somebody in my childhood that I looked up to as just like a wild child and just being like, I want to do that. I want to jump over school buses and stuff. And watching the clips from, and you'll get to it late in a minute here, but like watching the clips from the barbed wire matches and then seeing the video footage, the photos of Sabu recently, yeah, it took a toll.
It took a toll on multiple parts of his life even. And he actually just had his retirement match, I believe it was only 2 weeks ago.
It was at Mania. It was
right, it was Mania weekend.
Mania weekend, yeah. So.
And, some other things are coming out about, that match and kind of his condition before and after it. But again, we're here to talk about, the incredible career, the performer, the man himself. So what Charlie was referencing was there's an episode of Dark Side of the Ring, Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW, and there's a section that talks about when Sabu was tagging with his uncle, his shoot uncle, his real uncle, the original Sheik.
Yeah. And the story behind that is the Sheik was invited to FMW, and he was allowed to bring anybody, and Sabu was training with Rob Van Dam, and Sabu had also been brought in to help keep him out of trouble and everything. And so Sheik decided to bring Sabu, and apparently on the plane, this is what I was reading, like the Sheik turned to Sabu and was like, hey, I know this crazy stuff that you've been doing with Rob Van Dam in the gym. Do it. Finally, let him, that's where he let him off the leash to be like, you can do all the crazy stuff that I haven't been letting you do. Because apparently the Sheik was very conservative about like letting Terry wrestle, letting Sabu wrestle like that. And so that first trip to Japan in 92 was it was the start.
It was the coming out party.
It was the coming out party, absolutely.
Like really, and then again, like the one match specifically I want to talk about is part of a flaming barbed wire rope death match in Japan. And what they did is basically they did barbed wire ropes, but then covered them to make sure they could also be lit on fire. And even before, they were like, we don't know about this. Like, we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
And they went out to put on, to try and put on a show. And the flames kind of kept inching in on the ring. And it was actually a horrible accident for his uncle, who ended up getting
60% burns.
Yeah, it was 60%, and he ended up in a coma.
Yeah, a coma for a couple of days. Yeah, no, watching the footage from that, and it's so scary how the flames sort of create this pyramid at the top of the ring, and then what like Sabu and Onita? Yeah, Onita are talking about, like, basically what happens is fire needs oxygen in order to burn, right? It needs fuel and oxygen. And so the fuel is there, but then all of the oxygen is being sucked out from the middle of the ring. And so they were talking about being suffocated and like having to roll out and everything. Like that's, I mean, performance is one thing. And like we think about like the crazy special effects that people used to do in the movies and stuff. And it's just amazing how dedicated they were to doing that.
For me, what it is that could be something that could very easily turn you away from something like wrestling as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or even maybe just those more dangerous things in the ring, those, more, crazy types of matches.
Yeah.
Did not stop Sabu at all. He went on to double down and just go and be a maniac and in the most endearing way possible, like willing to do anything for the people, for the spots he wanted to hit, for the guys he was working with. So yeah, just at the top here, just taking a minute to honor. He's even my D&D inspiration.
Yeah,
I'm currently playing a barbarian named Terry Brunk.
Terry Brunk.
So it sucks, man. Losing more and more of them. Like, and good for him for sticking around as long as he did with all the crazy stuff he did, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rest in peace.
Like, he lived a life, and for some people, like, he lived 3 or 4 lifetimes. And I can't remember who said it, but like, this is a little weird, but like, you die twice, right? You die physically, and then you die when people stop saying your name. And as long as we say his name, he stays with us. So that was a visual gag.
Yeah, I was gonna say the visual bit on the
podcast,
felt cold
on the audio podcast. Oh well, we'll work on it. But yeah, again, I just wanted to take some time at the top of the show. I know with D&D and just like the impact that ECW has had in our community here in Philadelphia and in wrestling in general, it's pretty impactful. It's very cool to see how things have been influenced by ECW, by Sabu, by guys like that. So, well, welcome to the C Show. We're gonna get right into it. All right, welcome back to the C Show. I'm Charlie.
I'm Connor.
We're here. We're talking about SmackDown on May 9th. The go-home show before Backlash in St. Louis on Saturday, on May 10th. This was a pretty packed show. We started off with a tag team match of LA Knight and Damian Priest versus Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa.
How'd you feel? Like, give me your elevator pitch.
My elevator pitch is we're going to see 3 out of 4 of these guys tomorrow. So why are we doing this?
Because that means that there's a patsy to take the fall. That's not in the match tomorrow. That's why it's always tag teams, easier to make stuff weird. What was your move of the match?
My move of the match was Fatu, who wanted to run into LA Knight in the corner. Knight rolls out onto the ropes. Fatu smacks into the post, and then LA Knight uses that opportunity to get a BFT.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I did like that. My move of the match
Can you bring the mic a little bit closer? Oh, yeah. Perfect.
My move of the match was when Damian Priest was getting ready to do his finishing move. LA Knight tags himself in to start doing the leaping elbow. Damian Priest tags LA Knight while he's on the rope before he can do the leaping elbow. And then Damian Priest goes and hits the South of Heaven chokeslam.
I liked that there was like this tension between Priest and Knight and Fatu because they're all fighting for the U.S. Championship tomorrow, Saturday. And so there's this tension of like, hey, we have to work together tonight, but tomorrow we're fighting against each other. I liked that dynamic of it. But again, other than that, we're just doing this so there's a patsy.
And so for the finish, LA Knight hits Solo with the BFT, and we get the 1, 2, 3. But that's not the end. There's a little extracurriculars going on here.
LA Knight wants his title back, but Damian Priest wants it too. Fatu breaks up their fight. Fatu is then attacked by Drew McIntyre, who takes the title, shows it off, raises the title, and mocks the struggling Fatu on the mat.
Yeah, he's a little posed down with it.
Backstage, R-Truth is still ride or die for John Cena. And Jimmy Uso reminds us that Cena sucks, 4 letters, 1 word. Yeet. After R-Truth and Jimmy's encounter, we have Byron Saxton backstage interviewing Drew.
It's a classic, pre-pay-per-view, kind of let me run everyone down. The best line, though, was saying that that was a message to Jacob Fatu, and I have a silver bullet. Like, just very, very...
Because he's a Samoan
werewolf. Just like, I don't need anything crazy. I don't need anything too smart. Give me like a Halloween monster.
I thought he was talking about Coors Light.
Cold as the Rockies.
And the one thing that I did have to say is Byron put the mic near the interviewee's mouth. Backstage, Chelsea Green and the Secret Service are holding a seance, and then they're wondering who's going to give the eulogy, a eulogy, but for girlies.
Wait, were they doing... You said they were doing a what?
A seance. Did I say seance?
You did.
I put in my notes a seance.
Was it not a funeral?
It's a funeral, yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was a bit or if I was like, did I miss a total?
Oh, I wish they were doing a seance.
That would be so cool. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that'd be way cooler than what I wrote.
That would be... I think that's the next stage for the Secret Service is it's like they're witches in colonial Massachusetts. It's like going backwards. Because she's like the president, you know? Okay. All right. Moving on.
Are we going to be able to use any of this?
No, probably not. Zelina comes in and is shocked that they're mourning this title loss. Zelina proposes a tag team match with a non-friend that Chelsea mocks her with.
Well, yeah, she doesn't have any friends, so there's no way she could get someone to tag with her. No way.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Aldis thinks this is a great idea, and they go ahead and book it. We have the Aleister Black pre-tape. He talks about how he buried his old self ritualistically. He didn't find death. He found the truth.
I am the consequences that this company needs. I just wanted to point that out real quick because it seems like it's very close to like Rusev's new thing of like purifying the company.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an interesting collision course of if it's like, no, you're wrong. Like I'm the one cleaning it up. No, I'm the one that's like, all right, loser joins the other ones. I don't know, cleaning collective.
Loser goes back to AEW.
They have to work less dates for more money.
We now have the Secret Service tag team match, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega and a surprise, Columbus, Ohio's own Alexa Bliss.
Hell yeah.
What was your move of the match here?
So my move of the match here was so Chelsea gets caught on the top rope and catches like the drop kick while she's hanging upside down.
Yep.
Right. That leads into her being on the ground and Alexa hitting the Twisted Bliss. I love the Twisted Bliss as a move. Basically, it's like you do a splash, but you turn 180 degrees in the air, right? Go like toes to head. And then, but Piper broke it up.
My move of the match was at least twice Zelina picked up Piper Niven and put her over her shoulders and put her on the mat. And I think, listen, this is a talls and smalls matchup right there. Zelina Vega is all of 5 foot, 5'2", 5'4". She's very small, and Piper Niven is a much bigger gal. So to see Zelina pick up Piper and then drop her like that, and you know it's a team effort, but still it's pretty incredible. My runner up was Zelina Vega doing the double 619 on Chelsea and Piper.
That was good.
It's a 12:38 because it's 2 619s.
When you square them,
it's 619 plus 619. So that's...
Oh, no, that's the same thing as squared. I was going to say we would cube it.
I'm not getting into that.
So the match comes to an end here as Zelina hits her code red on Piper, knocking her out of the ring, and then hits the meteor, the double knees to Piper on the floor. Chelsea sets Bliss up in the unprettier, and Bliss counters into her sister Abigail DDT, which is a move that I love. It's basically like you're grabbing your head, they're leaning backwards, you're leaning forward at your waist, right? I like that what Alexa Bliss does is how she takes her arm and wraps it around the person's head and neck.
Yes.
And then brings it back down, which is actually probably safer, I assume, because then her arm hits first. But it looks awesome, and that gets us our pinfall.
Yeah, the Sister Abigail DDT is very exciting to watch. Very fun when it's executed well, like Alexa Bliss does. One note that I do have to say about the promos is, thank goodness we got a Killer Mike song for Backlash as the theme. The themes for WrestleMania, if I hear that song one more time, an axe through my television and I'm driving up to Connecticut. I did the Rumble theme was great, right? Because it was 365 by Charlie XCX.
I believe so.
Yes. Yeah, but thank goodness we got a Killer Mike song. Backstage, Rey Fenix is attacked by Santos Escobar and sets up a tag team match for later. In the middle of the ring, we are blessed with the presence of Charlotte Flair. Charlotte says, she had the greatest match in the greatest women's match in Mania history. She took Tiffany to her limit. What does that look like? Someone that enjoyed their WrestleMania moment?
Yeah, she puts up a picture of Tiffany Stratton during the match, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. I feel like we're past this being like, look at how they look in this. Like, I feel like that's just very older wrestling. I don't know. If the second it happened, I was like, that just seems strange now.
It feels very lazy, and it's just like, is Rick telling you what to do?
So, calls herself the GOAT of women's wrestling, getting booed. Very loud boo. Says, if you keep being disrespectful, I am leaving and never coming back.
Do it.
She spikes the mic and leaves.
But thankfully, Jade comes out dressed a la Cowboy Carter and tells Charlotte to head to the back of the line.
I just wrote comes out in a cowboy hat, but that makes a lot of sense. I did not connect those.
Yeah, Cowboy Carter. That's what I'm here for. And tells Charlotte to head to the back of the line because Jade versus Nia Jax is the next match for the #1 contender spot for the women's championship.
I want to jump in real quick
hit me.
because if you noticed, Aldis is then power walking backstage with Charlotte as she's going to leave. He's like, "What? So you're leaving?"
Yeah.
She's like, "I've done more for this division than anyone." It's like, "So you're throwing a temper tantrum and leaving?" But then they run into Alexa Bliss, who says that her and Charlotte should have a chat.
Yes. She slams the car door shut. And
it owed her money.
Like it owed her money. Nick Aldis does address Charlotte, and he does say, be a leader. Don't just walk away, right? Nick Aldis stepping up once again. This is a Nick Aldis Stan podcast. We now have Jade Cargill via Nia Jax. But even before the match begins, it's Tiffy time. She truly blesses us with her presence. I was being sarcastic earlier about Charlotte. But Tiffy, Prior Lake's finest, arrives to be a spectator for this match. Connor, what is your move of the match here?
What I loved is before this match even got underway, you could hear Nia yelling at Tiffany, and Tiffany, even though neither of them were mic'd, like you said, there were the shotgun mics out there to pick up, and you could just hear them just yelling, not nonsense, but just very this is definitely on TV, back and forth banter, if that makes sense. One thing that I saw throughout this match that I liked is they trade shoulder blocks, right? Literally trying the other one on their shoulder. And again, even though they're both larger, taller, it's not talls versus smalls, but there was still the idea of chopping Nia down, taking a couple of shoulder blocks to a couple things, wearing her down. I honestly, my move of the match is when Jade does a leapfrog over Nia and then does one more shoulder tackle to take her down. It was a little 30-second story of shoulder block didn't go down, shoulder block didn't go down. And then again, I love a leapfrog. I don't think I could jump over anybody. Might as well that quick, that close. Absolutely not. Do not put your money on me to do that.
Yeah, I think the last time I was able to do it was President Bush was in office.
Which one?
W. HW was before my time. My move of the match is Jade taking Nia and throwing her down from the top rope, then Jade hitting a frog splash, and Nia somehow kicks out of that. Nia Jax somehow kicks out of that. However, near the end of the match here, Naomi attacks Tiffany outside of the ring. Jade sees the shenanigans. Nia takes advantage. An Annihilator on the corner. Pin to win. Nia Jax wins.
I want to see how Naomi stays with this. Obviously she's attacking them now. I'm actually very excited. I was very worried that this was kind of going to be the end of her thing with Jade. I thought they would kind of push her to the side, but I'm glad to see she's still involved with this, and we get a wild card. We get an actual wild card.
A true wild card out of Naomi, which is exciting. Charlie Kelly would be very proud. Backstage, the Street Profits are approached by Michin and B-Fab, who compliment them for their TLC performance last week. When we get to Backlash, I want to talk about the TLC match.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. But this leads into Street Profits versus Fraxium. As the Street Profits walks in into the ring, Angelo Dawkins, I think Angelo Dawkins says it, but they say the gorilla fears us.
Oh, was he? I heard it later, and I didn't know if that was the first time they'd said it or not.
I think other wrestlers have been saying it.
Okay.
But also the gorilla fears us.
Especially in these last 2 weeks with the 100 men versus gorilla.
Exactly. Angelo Dawkins apparently is also from Ohio, so just Alexa Bliss getting her shot in Ohio. Angelo Dawkins in Ohio. Talking about the TLC match being one of the greatest TLC matches of all time. And Fraxium then come out. They talk about look at us, amigo. Those titles would look good on Fraxium, just saying. Street Profits are a little concerned. They want a title shot after 3 weeks. Nick Aldis interrupts. He says, Mr. Ford, I like what I'm seeing. They haven't proven themselves for a title shot yet, but this is the land of opportunity. Fraxium to face Street Profits right now.
Just another week of, we'll figure out what the show's going to be on the fly. Again, they're like, we have this chunk of time. We'll fill it. Someone will get on someone's nerves, eat someone's lunch. And it's like, he's like, oh, thank God. He's like, all right, yeah, make this a tag match show. Because it's always, get a ref out here. It's like, when everyone's ready, just get a ref out here.
Yeah, but the main thread of this match is basically Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are still banged up from the TLC match. And Fraxium take advantage of them, essentially. Fraxium do have a fabulous performance here. You can criticize them and be like, well, they're fighting against Street Profits who are injured, slow, kayfabe, right?
Yeah, no, everyone in that match looked awesome. I thought it was a great match. Again, I wish we were a longer show so I could really run this down instead of jumping right into my move of the match. Actually, let's go to you first. What was your move of the match?
My move of the match was Angelo Dawkins on the top rope does a Spanish. Angelo Dawkins is on the top rope. He gets hit on a Spanish fly by Axiom, and then there's the immediate Phoenix splash right afterwards. Ford breaks up the cover afterwards.
So my move of the match is Frazier is trying to superplex Ford. So Ford is on the top rope facing in the ring, and Frazier is facing the outside of the ring. Dawkins tags himself in, and they set up for their Doomsday Blockbuster, which I always love. Again, think, right, the opponent's on the one guy's shoulder, chicken fight style, and then the other guy comes off and just delivers a clothesline.
Yeah.
So, but I do have to agree with you about how great your move of the match was, because that was my runner-up.
I think I misread it because I saw a move of the match too, and I was like, did I also put that in there too? Because I liked it. My actual move of the match was Montez Ford doing this incredible gymnastic-esque move over the top rope, and then Dawkins tags him in, falling on Frazier. So, but also, Spanish fly, I'm always going to like a Spanish fly when it comes to wrestling.
You got through that whole thing, not sure if it was your actual move of the match.
Man, I don't know.
Hey, let's go to the finish here. So Ford goes up and misses the splash, right? Frazier holds up Ford for the catapulta, and
the catapulta infernal,
right? Drop kick sweep, drop kick with the leg sweep. Do you have it Alexander besides that, right? Because they did that.
Yeah, it's the top rope drop kick to the chest. And the commentators ask, is there a title shot for Fraxium here? They all shake hands. Great sportsmanship. Texas and Dawkins are really selling their struggle there. Backstage, we have The Miz and Mello. It was all about getting it all on film. You needed to be watching the match. The Miz tells Mello about fighting Aleister Black. I will show you where you need to be. And they're talking about, again, the chain that The Miz got Carmelo Hayes, the 10-pound Andre the Giant head. Dre. In front of Dre, run the play exactly how I drew it up. Who's him? I am.
Because we're mellow, don't miss.
We're mellow, don't miss.
And we're him. I do have to jump back real quick because there's Tiffy running backstage looking for Naomi, and Nia comes up and he's like, not so easy being champ when you've made some enemies, but now you got to worry about me. And Tiffy's literally like, that's fine. After I beat you, I'll make sure there's a spot for you at the losers table with Charlotte Flair.
Toodles.
Like I'm here for the sick burn. Like I'm gonna pick out just like the sick burns to the lines that I'm like even an idiot like me gets in can appreciate it.
Immediately I had to like think about it, but I had at my old job, there was a franchisee whose dad owned a franchise and was giving it to her as an inheritance. So already, and she would always end phone calls with toodles. And I was like, oh, fuck. It just reminded me of that.
So then we come out with Aleister Black versus Carmelo Hayes.
Charlie Robinson, our favorite referee here on the C Show, is in the middle here. My move of the match here is a springboard completion from Hayes. He shoots a 3-celly over Black. So he just does like the 3 and then boom.
Yeah, hold the follow through.
I like that. I like that a lot.
My move of the match was Aleister Black does a jump up second rope moonsault. So bounce off the bottom rope, bounce off second, does a full moonsault to the outside on Mello. Man, I really like Aleister Black. I didn't see much of his first time through. But I've liked what I've seen so far, man. I like the character. I like how he wrestles.
I'm a big fan of the Black Mass. I like the Black Mass. I like the whole vibe. It's a pretty cool character. I like that he's selling the eye injury from 5 years ago. I like that just because it's just like
commit to the bit.
Commit to the bit. Backstage, we have Solo and...
hold on, we didn't talk about the end of the match.
Oh, we didn't talk about the end of the match.
No, so the Miz tries to distract Aleister Black. Mello ends up hitting Miz, and then Black wins with a surprise roll-up. So surprise roll-up, there's always a bit that's like, it's crazy how strong it is. Like, it's OP because somehow it just manages to beat all these wrestlers who kick out of all this stuff. Then it's like, they're surprised and can't kick out in 3 seconds.
Yeah, no, the roll up, especially because the position that Mello's in, it's very hard for him to kick out of it. So it's just like, yeah, definitely, like the Black is gonna win on this one here, right? Because you always bet on Black.
I'm with it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You landed that. You landed the plane.
Yes. Call me Sully Sullenberger, baby.
Unrelated. Are you watching the rehearsal?
Oh, bro, I know that it's related because he's a big Evanescence fan or something.
Well, yeah, not unrelated to this, not unrelated to the grand scheme.
The grand scheme. No. Is it done for the season or?
No, I think there's only like 4 episodes out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's perfect for me because I'll probably binge it soon this weekend.
Hell yeah, very good. And mentions Sully, so.
A real human being. That's what that song's about. From Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Really?
Yeah. Backstage, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa are discussing their plans for tomorrow. But Jacob Fatu really doesn't want to discuss any sort of plan. We're going to run the play tomorrow at Backlash. These 3 suckers better get in where they fit in. And he also emphatically describes how he will dog walk his opponents of the Fatal 4-Way. Backstage, Fraxium and MCM... Fraxium meets up with Motor City Machine Guns. Eventually, it will be the 2 of them facing off, except DIY attacks Fraxium.
Just like, God damn it. Just every time. My wife has such a giant hatred for DIY and hated them like when they were still good guys and like the tag team champions. I was like, no, they're cool. And then they turned heel and she's like, I was always right. They were never any good.
DIY, is mad that, they say all you did was beat up some banged up guys. Only some lowlifes would do that.
But, lowlifes definitely wouldn't jump to other teams out of nowhere. That's not a lowlife move.
We go back to the center of the ring. We've got Los Garza versus Andrade and Rey Fenix here.
This kind of only happened because it is the last match, so I guess this has to be my hot dog match. Everything else was really good too, though. But I'm definitely at least taking a heat check for the first half of the match. I'm kind of very tired of Los Garza and Escobar.
It definitely feels like Legados del Fantasma are on their last legs, like even more so than Judgment Day. They don't get as much coverage as Judgment Day, but it's like very clear that Angel and Berto are over this, that there's going to be a break there as well. There are the reports that the AAA Luchador brand that was just purchased by WWE is going to rebrand as NXT Mexico. So I hope we don't lose those guys to NXT Mexico or whatever, whatever corporate restructuring they do, but that would be disappointing. My move of this match was Andrade pulling a poisoned Rana on Berto, who sells the absolute hell out of it, and Andrade leaps in for the fresh tag.
Love a Rana or a poison Rana. Jumping up, wrapping your legs around someone and throwing them back over you. Essentially, Poison Rana is doing it when the person's facing away from you. Hurricane Rana facing towards you. Again, beautiful moves. My move of the match was the Garzas did a really nice stereo moonsault on the outside. I love when tag teams actually can do a stereo move and pull it off without, like, I remember talking in one of the early pods of, I think it was like American Made, being like, are we doing the suplex? Are we doing the suplex? They're all looking. So to see them like be able to hit it seamlessly was really awesome. I thought that was a great move.
The finale for this match is Rey Fenix going flying. I don't know if you saw his back, but it looked like he had cupping done.
Yes, I noticed that.
Okay, all right, yeah. No, it definitely looks like he's been doing that cupping thing. I've never done it. I don't know anybody who's done it, but it's interesting.
I know a lot of high level athletes do it. Apparently there's like some disagreement on how much it actually helps and doesn't, but it's like a very popular thing for, people with all the resources.
It's like of Chinese origin, right?
I don't know, actually.
Chinese homeopathic? I think so, but never mind. We're not going to go too far into it. I have to edit this at some point. So and then Andrade goes in for the pin and win.
He hits the message.
The message.
So the message.
El mensaje.
Imagine, right, someone's like bent over, head between your legs. He basically picks both their arms up, like pedigree style, puts his arms underneath, and then picks them up and then flips them over right onto their back. It's a very nice move. It's a great finishing move. And yes, that got us our pin. But again, we have some, I guess, extracurriculars, but it's still all on the same team.
Right, exactly. The epilogue of this match is just Santos Escobar being disappointed with Garza. And again, what I talked about earlier at the beginning of this match, this being showing the real cracks in Legado del Fantasma. Where do we go next with these guys? So, and now our final segment from SmackDown, it's John Cena. Again, with the white Helvetica font. I just want to acknowledge my tribal chief, Stu. Thank you. Stu, the cameraman. The guys with the John Cena Sucks shirts have been waiting all night. There were 3 guys on the hard camera side of the ring that had John Cena Sucks t-shirts. And again, like, John does this thing where he awkwardly points at Mark Nash. You would think Nash would just be there, ready to go by this point. He has to awkwardly walk Cena up to the ring. At this point, somebody throws an empty Michelob Ultra at John Cena. It is the official position of the C Show that you do not interfere with wrestlers outside of or inside of the safety zone. Do not do that. Do not throw stuff.
Like, don't be an idiot. Like again, you wouldn't do that. And again, you shouldn't do it at a baseball game, a basketball game. Hell, if you're going to a play, can you imagine someone doing that at a musical, right? Or just going into someone's work and doing that. That's absurd.
John Cena's not going to come into your call center job and throw an
empty Michelob at you.
Yeah. So John uses his opportunity to say, tomorrow your childhood dies. Throwing bottles only emphasizes the weight of the event. You're so mad at me that you're throwing this aluminum bottle. It's not glass anymore because of this. Because of
incidents just like this.
Because of incidents like this and baseball players getting glassed in the head in the 50s. And he says, don't boo Randy Orton. He's smart. They've been wrestling together 25 years, 100 appearances together. If you're 20 or 12 to 55, you either pick John Cena or Randy Orton, and it ends tomorrow night. You only get to choose one more time. Your childhood dies. Life isn't fair. Winners write the history books, and Randy Orton is a liar.
Again, I'm here for the hot burns, so I'm here for where he said Randy Orton is furniture. He's just a lazy boy.
That was great.
When he said, no one knows Bob Sr., his grandfather, and the best thing Bob Jr. did was knock up Randy's mom.
Wild.
Right? And then finally, it will be just like Orton's drug test in 2006, a failure. But then someone slides into the ring and tries to see him with an RKO.
It was a body double. Randy pops up after John Cena does. And it's the real Randy Orton. He gets John with an RKO. Randy faked us out. Even with the tattoos and everything, they found a guy backstage with a sleeve tattoo that looks similar enough that it faked you out. Like, you can't see his... I think the guy had a balaclava on or something.
Yeah, or just his hood. Really, like, they made it so that, like, you could not see his face at all. Again, they had some arm tattoos, and then my favorite is a lot of people on the internet playing detective of. Sorry, so these tattoos like could be this wrestler. like I love that from the IWC.
Thank you, IWC. And at the end here, Randy holds the title high over Cena, laying on the mat. You know, for a go-home show, this was pretty fantastic, really packed. We're going to talk about Backlash here in a moment, but I feel like this really set up for. This was a great setup for kind of a mediocre payoff.
Yeah, they set up a lot of good things, and they even kind of like started alluding to some things that were nice payoffs at Backlash, but as a whole, it was a little disappointing. And again, coming off WrestleMania, Backlash usually is disappointing, especially now when, we get 5 matches per show.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll be talking about Backlash here in just a moment. Stay tuned here on The C Show. Welcome back to The C Show. We're here talking about Backlash. Backlash was May 10th in St. Louis, Missouri. So we've got 5 matches tonight. 4 title defenses. The first match is Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight versus Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. A fatal 4-way for the U.S. Championship.
This was a great match. There was a lot of action, a lot of stuff going on. I'm actually going to jump right to my move of the match because it happened kind of early.
Yeah.
So Drew McIntyre is hanging from the top ropes like by his knees. He does a sit-up and grabs Jacob, who's standing on the top rope, and basically throws him like belly-to-belly style over his head so that Jacob lands on LA Knight. Jacob then stands up and no-sells it and then delivers a hip attack to Drew, who's still in the corner, and then dives to the outside. Absolute insanity in the matter of 8 seconds.
I think my move of the match was a swanton bomb to the top, and then LA Knight gives him a BFT, but then Damian Priest turns that into a South of Heaven. So just a really fun sequence, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
So there's a point where Drew's going to go and win the match. He hits a Claymore, right? 1, 2, but Priest pulls the ref out to stop the count.
Right. Priest pulls the ref out, prevents McIntyre from getting the count on LA Knight. Priest, Drew go at each other, throwing each other into the timekeeper. At this point, Fatu moonsaults, LA rolls out, and no one's home. There's a couple of cover opportunities. It's just going wild. I have in my notes here, OMG, that bald guy in the brown shirt is going crazy. McIntyre has some ideas, but Priest gouges his eyes out, and then the straps come down.
Hell yeah. Then Damian hits a South of Heaven chokeslam. They were on top of like a road box, which is called a road box.
Yes.
And delivers a South of Heaven chokeslam, jumping off the box into some tables below. So Drew actually hit his head off the ground there. They went just a little far.
Oh.
And so that's why there was quite a few more people than you would think out there. They said apparently that Drew did go to the hospital after. Triple H said Sunday that he is totally fine. There's no issues, no injuries.
Okay. Yeah, no, that is pretty scary. Yikes. Back in the main area on the apron, or outside of the ring, LA Knight throws Jacob Fatu in the announcer table and then uses the front as a weapon. LA Knight then sets up on the top rope and Solo Sikoa pulls him off the desk. Knight is literally standing up there and you could see him go, the fuck? And now this is where Jeff Cobb comes out.
Yes.
He throws LA Knight into the post twice. Cobb and Solo want Jacob Fatu back in the ring to finish this. Fatu retains the U.S. title after a jump-up moonsault on LA Knight.
He doesn't look too happy. It does not seem... again, his idea was to run the play. Mm-hmm. Must have been an audible.
I believe so. Fatu walks back up the ramp, looking disappointedly at the men who assisted him. What would you rate this match?
I liked it. I liked it. Like normally wrestling, they talk out of 5 stars. Like I'd give this like 3.5. Like it was very solid. Mm-hmm. I hate like just another bloodline interference. Like that's why it's not higher. Like I feel like they could have probably gotten a little bit of a better finish here. But I thought it was a good match. I would watch it again.
Yeah, I put 3.5 here as well.
Oh hell yeah.
Next up, we've got Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Lyra defending the Women's Intercontinental Championship against her mentor, Becky Lynch.
My move of the match, you talked about it in one of Lyra's last matches, is the swing. Mm-hmm. Is the swing when she set it up so that she is literally swinging Becky Lynch by her legs
cradle,
and her arms. The cradle swing is unbelievable, and there was just more awesome work from heel Becky here. Like there was a point where they were over and she was screaming at Lyra's fiance. Mm-hmm. Like, this is your fiance? Like,
yeah. That was people on Wrestle Sky, on Blue Sky were clowning the fiance, and I was like, what?
Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him.
She's the Intercontinental Champion. People are just jealous.
Y'all wish you were lucky enough to outkick your coverage.
True. Truly. My move of the match was Lyra pulling a superplex from the top rope on Becky. They were swapping covers back and forth. After that, Becky got a 2.99 count there. The real finale is going towards the end here. Becky goes to the timekeeper area, grabs a chair, brings it back. The ref, Jessica Carr, interrupts. And after that, Jessica Carr is distracted, undoing a turnbuckle. Becky is about to throw Lyra into the exposed turnbuckle. Lyra counters, prevents the buckle bump, and then a straight moonsault to kick out by Becky. This is getting, like, Wade Barrett is absolutely right. It is getting really ugly. Jessica Carr not only noticed the exposed turnbuckle, she noticed the exposed turnbuckle. She missed the 3 count after the Nightwing.
Well, she had to get the ring back in order. Mm-hmm. So the finish here is Becky pokes Lyra in the eye. Yep. And goes for a manhandle slam. But actually makes it into a roll through after, like a pinning combination. Mm-hmm. And Lyra just rolls through and gets the 1, 2, 3
with one hand.
Kind of a little disappointing end. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, all right.
I didn't love it.
Did you want Becky to win, or
just the actual finish? I thought the match was good. I was fine with Lyra winning, and what happened after, just the actual match didn't wow me. Gotcha. Which I was very excited for this one.
Yeah, this was definitely one that was, I feel like, more hype than the other ones. Becky, of course, is not happy with this result. She gets pissed. She takes it out on Lyra. You're just surprised that Jessica doesn't do anything. Jessica Carr just kind of stands there. She's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happening. It's not until refs crawl into the ring like Rugrats. Pierce is screaming at Becky to separate. Yeah,
Becky currently has her in her disarm her submission. Mm-hmm. So imagine like you're laying face down with your arm out and someone's sitting on your elbow and pulling your hand up. Like that's the play of it. And again, just sinking it in there until eventually enough people come out and tell her to stop that she decides to stop.
Cole brings up the point. Lyra retains, but at what cost? I would give this match 3 out of 5. I'm with you at the end there. The finale isn't really with it. Everything else was great.
Yeah, no, there was great wrestling in between. They both got to do a couple different things. I thought there was some, interesting storytelling. Again, the Becky heel stuff is very funny in the way she's able to work it into the match, and a promo we'll talk about later on Raw. Again, like I think there was a lot of really good stuff in there. Just the end really soured it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the ending souring it for you, Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. Dominic Mysterio defending the men's Intercontinental Championship against the newcomer Penta.
If you can't tell by the groan, you probably already know how this is going to go. But again, it was a really good match. I love Penta's backstabber, right? Jumping up 2 knees to the back, right? Dom hit a suicide dive to the outside. So that means Dom jumps head first between the ropes out, but he turned it into a DDT. So he wrapped around Penta, right? And then slammed Penta's head onto the ground. That was so awesome.
Yes, the self-harm dive to the DDT. I also noted that as well.
Just going on TikTok?
Yeah. They were unalived. Of course, it's Dirty Dom Mysterio, so of course we're gonna get some interference from the Judgment Day. Carlito, JD, and Finn are all noticed by the referee and get ejected. At this point, we get my move of the match. Penta does I believe a self-harm dive, lands on all 3, and then super kicks Dom outside of the ring. Balor comes back in, but then who else but El Grande Americano?
Hits Penta with the loaded headbutt, right? The steel plate, so they won't shut up about on commentary. And then Dom hits the frog splash for the win. One other thing, again, I like when they work little story stuff in here. Dom hits Liv's finishing move, the Oblivion.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, like he must miss her, like why she's off shooting. Which, again, I just think it's funny when they work those little things into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There was also a moment where Penta broke up a Three Amigos and then avoided a 619. And then Dominic kicks out of a crucifix pin.
When he launched himself over the ropes, that was almost my move of the match.
For as much as Dominic's character is kind of annoying and grating, he is a fantastic wrestler.
And that's why I really like, you hear Michael Cole on commentary be like, I will say his wrestling has improved. Like when he's talking his other trash on Dom, and I think Michael Cole really means that.
I think Dom and Cody Rhodes are kind of similar in that they're Cody's second gen, Dom is third, and both of their dads are very, very prominent wrestlers of their generation and of their regions, etc., etc. And Dom coming into this role, he's playing this character. Not everybody likes it. Some people like it, etc., etc. I think there's this really interesting analogy there with Dom and Cody, and I really like where Dom's story is heading with Judgment Day eventually breaking up, hopefully this summer, and more stuff coming up with him. So, what would you rate that match?
Again, really liked it. Tired of the Judgment Day interference. I'd probably still stick around 3.
El Grande Americano and Judgment Day interference bring this down to a 2.5 out of 5 for me.
Okay, I'm with that. I 100% get that.
Yeah, honestly, you could have not had El Grande Americano come out. 3, easy, no problem. You lose a half star for Judgment Day, you lose another half star for El Grande Americano.
Yeah, but that's what they're pushing towards. That's going to be the next thing. Again, probably reunite the Lucha Brothers against Chad, and they'll probably put some other white dude in a mask.
El Generico.
Oh, no, that would be cool. That wouldn't be allowed.
Speaking of things that are allowed and not cool, Pat McAfee versus Gunther.
I could not get a hot dog any faster.
Yeah.
Literally the only point I have, then I'll talk about whatever else you want me to, is the over on chokeholds cashed easy.
Yes. Yeah. You were very lucky there. I did put it in my notes and I said, third chokehold, Connor wins the bet. It was just a schoolyard fight. It was just Pat is physically skilled. A strong guy for sure, but it just felt like a public flogging. It honestly wasn't fun to watch. And then when Cole comes up and he's just begging for mercy, it's Cole, this is below your talent as an announcer and as a talent for WWE.
Yeah, the only part I even found interesting was there's a point where after Michael Cole like does his bag bets and all, he actually trips Gunther and then tries to hold his foot down while Pat pins him to steal the win.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting. Like again, like the idea of like this heel bad cheating thing, but also like F Gunther again in their story. In mine, it's I hope that Pat McAfee loses the exploding barbed wire death match. You know,
no barbed wire, but 3 chokeholds. So Connor wins on the chokehold over. What would you rate this?
Probably 2. Like Gunther ends up winning by putting him in the chokehold, and they get the pass out spot, which Gunther couldn't even get at WrestleMania. And then Gunther actually gives a little bow to Pat and Michael at the end. Kind of like you know when you and your boy fight, and it's just like, all right, you good? All right, I'm good. All right, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I've been recalculating my scores here. I would probably put this at like one. I don't know if we're doing this on quarter increments, but like 175 easy. Okay. And our main event for the evening, John Cena defending the undisputed WWE Championship versus Randy Orton.
Heel Cena is just so great. Again, talking about like Cena talking about on SmackDown, you know, the history here, this and that, and then Cena starts with a handshake. And I'm like, don't do it, Randy. You've seen him do it. Randy goes for the handshake and he pokes him right in the eye. But then what's even better is Randy gets his get back. Like literally no less than a minute later, he just pokes John Cena in the eye. And the ref's like, I'm not calling that.
I'm not calling that.
No, forget that. There's one point where Cena actually goes to leave. He's kind of just like, F this. Again, he has that champion's advantage.
Yeah.
A count out or disqualification, you don't lose it. And so, of course, Randy just chases his ass down and is like, no, we're not done here.
Yeah. This was probably the best match of the night, in my opinion. There was just John and Randy going at each other. The one thing, and I think you said this during Mania, but it was just John calling shots. Just John calling moves the entire time, like when they're laying down on the mat and you can literally see his lips moving and you could see him pointing and you're just like, okay, John, we're I know that Paul wants to dissolve the fourth wall entirely, but this is interesting.
There's a point where Cena does the 10 punches in the corner, like Randy's in the corner, he stands up top, and then Randy turns around and gives him 20 in the corner, and then so Cena puts in a sleeper hold and even jumps on Randy's back. Randy gets a sleeper of his own. Then John does. Then Randy does. Then John does. And then finally Randy does a back suplex and they're done with this bit.
I feel like, you know, my favorite part about this was, well, towards the end of the match, Randy starts talking to himself and then he's just like, I'm going to go look for a table. I'm going to go look for something. And he goes to one of the video boards and he's just like, oh, shoot, I can't lift that.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it.
And then he goes to the apron. He looks under the first apron. He can't find anything. And then he goes to the second apron and he finds a table and he sets that up. Did you see Randy taking a pause to drink the Prime bottle?
So I did. What I saw online were a lot of pictures of him and videos of him trying it and not liking it. When I went back and I watched it because I had to watch it late, they certainly cut away from him right after he sips it.
Yes, I posted something on the She Show Instagram story where he drank it and then I think he just shakes his head and goes, horrible. I haven't tried that flavor of Prime. I have a child's taste buds, and Prime is okay. It's not terrible. Yes, but moving on.
One thing I loved in this match that we've seen in a lot of big matches is, again, people stealing each other's finishing moves. Randy hit a couple attitude adjustments, and the long-term storytelling of all the times that these guys have battled. My move of the match, what I really loved, is there was a point where Cena had Orton up for the attitude adjustment on his shoulders, and as Cena goes to do it, Orton makes it also an RKO, so they both kind of get effed up. Like, I'm like, that's amazing. Like, I never thought of that, but again, the idea of RKO out of nowhere, again, they know each other so well, they've done this dance so many times, that was wonderful. My
move of the match was Randy gives John an RKO, and then ref comes running down, and there's just all of these refs coming out. Security, referees, they're pleading with RKO. Aldis is pleading. He eats an RKO. And then another security guy gets an RKO. And then another RKO for referee. You get an RKO. You get an RKO. You get an RKO. Everybody gets an
Wait,
RKO.
but who else came down to eat an RKO in defense of John Cena?
Adam Pearce? Oh, no. R-Truth. R-Truth.
And we'll wait till the end here, but we got to talk about the press conference with R-Truth.
Yeah, absolutely. John, after that, gets a low blow on Randy Orton. John puts the title to Randy's head. Chad Patton crawls in for the count. John Cena retains through shenanigans and shenanigans galore.
And then he actually gets a mic and addresses the crowd. He's like, you can't see me, but you can hear me. Cut the damn music.
I don't need competition. Drink it in, St. Louis. This is what the last real champion looks like. Roll the credits. Fade to post show. During the press conference, RKO. During the press conference, John Cena is talking with the media, and R-Truth comes out. And R-Truth is trying to talk to his childhood hero. And John gets up and says, "That crossed the line, Ron."
Well, do you remember what he said?
No, not before that.
So he was talking to him, and he's like, "You're my favorite. You always will be." Mm-hmm. He's like, "And I don't care if the crowd says you suck and you can't wrestle."
Okay, yeah, I do. And then he goes, "Ron, that crossed the line." And then he puts him up on his shoulders for an attitude adjustment through the table, ends the press conference, walks out.
Fantastic.
Excellent stuff. I was a little disappointed by this PLE overall. Out of the matches, Dom and Penta was probably Dom and Penta, or Lyra and Becky were the two matches that I liked the most. John and Randy it was a great match between two longtime rivals, great storytelling, and it did lead to a satisfying conclusion there. So,
yeah, didn't love it, right? Kind of the WrestleMania hangover going into Backlash.
Yeah.
And as much as I usually hate Saturday night's main event, maybe this one won't suck.
I think so. And we'll talk more about previews for Saturday night's main event coming up on The C Show. Welcome back to The C Show. We're here. We're talking about Raw from May 12th, 2025. Well, we're back from Backlash in St. Louis. And the first thing we have here on Raw is CM Punk.
So he came out and he's pissed. Mm-hmm. He said he's pissed at a lot of people, but number one with a bullet, one with a big fat bullet, is me. Paul has stabbed him in the back twice now.
Yep.
And he apologizes to Jey Uso, who warned him about Paul, the fat little snake.
He got 13 staples in the forehead from Paul Heyman.
From that ladder shot after the last time he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Paul, I can't wait to wrap my hands around your little fat neck," seems oxymoronish, "your little fat neck and squeeze until your eyeballs pop."
And of course, he's a fat little snake. And then that Team Who CM Punk, Seth Rollins.
Oh, I missed that. That's awesome.
And right after, CM Punk threatens Paul Heyman. "My name is Paul Heyman."
Yeah, he talks for 2 seconds. We get Seth Rollins music. All right, here comes Paul and Seth. Mm-hmm. And then they showed him oh, Braun is here too. I just totally forgot Braun was coming with them because he didn't get any music or anything. I was like, Braun's here too.
Yeah, Braun's the muscle. So let's talk outfits real quick. Heyman, pretty classic, 3-piece suit.
Same old, same old.
Great tie. Breaker does the black shirt, black suit combo. My two notes here, WWE wardrobe. A silver chain and make the pocket square black.
Ooh, I'm with that.
It pops. It makes the whole look pop.
I'm with that.
9 out of 10, two small things, pop. And then Rollins. Did you notice what Seth was wearing?
I did not particularly know.
Snakeskin jacket, snakeskin, like a snakeskin duster, snakeskin suit. have to assume some sort of animal skin boot. But then the glasses were also like angular and ovular, like a snake's eyes.
Oh, that's super cool.
And at an angle.
I'll have to go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, so no, Seth had this like whole snake thing going on yesterday, which was really like, again, like Seth is so smart with his outfits. We've talked about this many times, but like the Mania outfit where he comes out with the crown of thorns on his sunglasses, incredible, right? And I think this is just another way that WWE wardrobe is doing a lot with a little.
No, absolutely. And Seth comes out, I was like, so I think you can't get any more selfish or egotistical. You find a way. You made Paul's life hard, and you are now gaslighting us into thinking he betrayed you when someone that you do like goes to therapy but still uses it wrong.
Hey, man, at least they're going. So Paul Heyman was your best friend, and you made his life hell. Paul is amazed when Seth starts calling Punk trash, human excrement. Says, do you love punishment, suffering? Breaker is loading. No thoughts, just the desire to spear. Punk loves to play the victim. This is something that the IWC does a lot and is like, I feel like they're doing now in the ring more often. Like this is entering into the ring of like, I read a lot about people who are criticizing Punk and the incident at AEW backstage, the falling out with Colt Cabana, all of the shenanigans that happened at AEW, because like he quit in 2014, right? He walked away. He was done
From WWE.
from wrestling.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
For the time, yes.
Yeah, he said he was never going back to wrestling before going to AEW, and then he goes to AEW, and it's sort of like, okay, wow, like he's actually doing this. He comes back to WWE, which nobody thought he was going to do. I think it's really interesting that they're like Seth is the voice of the IWC in a way, and
The voice of the voiceless.
the voice of the voiceless,
Turning that right on CM Punk.
Yeah, exactly.
Seth says, you want to be the victim, to die a martyr? Well, I believe that can be arranged. I hope you prepared your last words.
It's Breaker time to spear Punk. Breaker and Punk scrap, and
Did you hear what Punk said as Breaker was running to the ring?
No.
He said, "You gonna bark, little doggy, or are you gonna bite?"
Classic. So again, Breaker and Punk scrap in the ring. Breaker pushes Punk into the corner. There's a kick to Breaker's face, and Punk gets a chance to spear Seth. Breaker attacks Punk. Sami Zayn comes out to back up Punk. Attacks Rollins. Breaker suplexes Zayn. Rollins and Punk go out in the middle. Heyman hands Seth Rollins the chair, and Jey Uso comes out. Payback from last week. Breaker breaks up Rollins and Uso. Sami and Punk with chairs. Punk throws his towards Rollins and Breaker on the apron. It's 3-2 Uso Punk Zayn versus Breaker Rollins at the end there.
Sends him packing right back up the ramp. I love it.
Incredible stuff. Great promo. Like if you give CM Punk the beginning of the show, it's gonna kick ass. I feel like.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if there are only 4 matches in this program tonight. After that, we get our first match of the evening: Penta versus Chad Gable. I think this is the angle I'm gonna go with. Chad Gable.
Okay.
Air quotes.
I'm with it.
It's a character.
What's horrible is that before they actually get started, they do an entrance for Pat McAfee.
Yes.
I wrote, "It's not fair for you to make me get a hot dog before a match I actually want to watch."
Yeah, Pat gets his walk up and everything. There was a video, I sent it to you. I don't know if I posted it on the story yet, but like Logan was talking with the camera guys, and the camera guys were like, "Can we get entrances now too?" And Triple H was like, "No. Then everybody gets an entrance." And the one camera guy is like, "Can I get good pyro at least?"
One other comment is my wife and I were both like, we literally didn't even notice that Pat wasn't on the first segment and that only Michael Cole was talking, and it was honestly wonderful.
Backlash, that was my favorite part about Backlash, was Wade Barrett and Michael Cole working together.
They're so good.
They're so good. Like, and there's that animosity between them. It's kayfabe, but it's great. It's fabulous. Keeps it going. My move of the match here is Gable from the top rope. Penta catches him with a code breaker and then covers him for the pin. Gable manages to kick out.
So a code breaker is when someone jumps up and you basically put both knees into their face as you fall onto your back. Again, that move was awesome. There's a point where Chad goes to try and unmask Penta, and again, it's this thing of, and of course, frickin' Pat McAfee being like, El Grande Americano has respect. They wouldn't try and remove a mask. Chad Gable must be different. Like, just more and more, just laying it on.
Thick.
There's a point where Penta does an arm drag from the top rope and then hits a Rana to launch himself over the top, but Chad just decks him and screams, "Lucha Libre sucks."
Yes.
Oh my god. The other thing I really liked, as far as just a story or wrestling thing, is that Penta is set up for the sacrifice where he takes your arm and like bends it all the way back, and Gable's able to turn it into an ankle lock. Like I love the idea, especially like that was something with Kurt Angle too. It's like they can make anything into an ankle lock. Like they can get out of anything into anything and get into their submission move, which is always just a very nice like storytelling device.
Yeah. The ending is a Penta turns another armbar into a pin opportunity, and then a Mexican destroyer from Penta from the top rope. Gable sells the hell out of it. OUT out.
No, absolutely wonderful. I love it off the top. They got some great air on it. And again, Chad is awesome. It's, as much as I hate like that, the El Grande Americano thing, like I didn't even mind him as like American made Chad Gable. Like again, like I saw it in the bit and was fine with it. Like he's really good. He's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next match of the evening, we're going to just roll through, hit our matches, and then we'll talk about all the story stuff at the end here. But our next match is War Raiders versus American Made. If you're wondering why this seems familiar, we talked about it on the premiere episode of the C Show, episode 001. Yes, we did. That's why I was like, didn't we just watch this match? Yes, we watched it 11 weeks ago.
But a big difference. We had New Day on commentary again.
We did have New Day on commentary, and I feel like that's why they were brought in to do commentary, to distract us from the fact that we just watched this less than 3 months ago.
Dude, I don't even remember what I did last week.
20 minutes ago.
What?
Did you see Kofi's clogs?
Oh, yeah, because I did a close-up on him.
I don't get sneakers anymore, man. I got it when it was like the bubble. And then when I was in high school, Adidas made orange Rebel Alliance high top sneakers that I really wanted. But yeah, after that, I don't get shoes anymore, man. I like Crocs.
This is one we're really just going to jump through here. My move of the match is the point where Julius Creed pulls Eric out of the ring. Eric's laying flat in the ring. Julius is outside, pulls him out, and then stands him up for a stalling suplex. Holds him up there for what felt like forever and just hits a beautiful, again, to be like that strong, that athletic, like Eric is not a small guy. So pull him out, stall him at the top is awesome.
My move of the match was the superplex moonsault combo from American Made, Julius and Brutus Creed. They are actually brothers.
I believe so, yes. I believe they are shoot brothers.
Jacob and Drew Casper. Drew, I believe, went to Duke University and was a very prominent D1 wrestler. Jacob went to somewhere in Ohio. He was 2-time D3 champion.
I was going to say, I know they've said before that they're both multi-time All-Americans.
Yeah. All-Americans for sure. But yeah, I didn't realize their background in amateur wrestling and folk-style wrestling like that. So great to see that. The finale for this match is... we get some shenanigans here from the New Day. Brutus Creed picks up and drops Ivar. Ivar catches after the backflip and dropped. Eric breaks up a cover. Eric and Xavier start beefing. Kofi's on the post and bonks Ivar. Ivar gets up on Julius's shoulder and Brutus gets the pin to win. The New Day, shame, run away.
Hey, man, they're doing the heel thing, and they're doing that right. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
they're doing it really well. Love them on commentary. Again, the
they
more
were
like
fabulous on commentary.
I hear them do like different stuff outside of the actual wrestling, like I love it. Like promos, like podcasts, like different stuff. Like they're just funny dudes, man.
Yeah, they're really funny. Speaking of really funny, we get another hot dog match. It's Finn versus AJ Styles. My move of the match here is Finn running into a clothesline and bringing both him and AJ Styles down on their backs. I enjoyed that.
For me, my move of the match is Finn tries to do a Pele kick. So, like, imagine you just try and do a bicycle kick to someone's head. And AJ does a really nice job of catching it and then rolling him through to the calf crusher submission. So basically, he's taking Finn's calf and jamming it against his own shin for, like, that pressure point. So I just thought, again, that was a very, like, technical, like, smooth move that I thought was very cool.
Smooth move.
The finish here is AJ hits the phenomenal forearm, right, out of a lot of craziness and distractions from Carlito, JD, Penta, everyone and their mother, but phenomenal forearm for the win.
How do Penta, JD, and Carlito interact, though? It's Penta who interferes with the Judgment Day's interference. So thank you, Penta.
Cancels out,
exactly. Our final match of the evening is the main event, Giulia and Roxanne versus Io and Rhea. Do you want to talk about the pre-tape beforehand?
Yeah, so there was 2 pre-tapes before that I just want to talk about here. First is Roxanne and Giulia. They made it clear that the women's division isn't safe anymore. And then Giulia speaks Japanese.
Yeah,
I had no idea that she was Japanese. My wife and I were both like, "Wait, what?" And then we looked up. Yeah, her dad's Italian, her mom is Japanese, born in London, raised in Japan.
Wow,
and has a lot of history in Stardom, where Io also had a lot of history previous to coming to the WWE.
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting.
They said, Io and Rhea, we don't care about your history. We are here to make our own.
They are the future of this industry, yada, 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 yada.
And then Io gets a little response, right, saying she tried to show Roxanne respect last week. Her and Giulia don't deserve any respect. They'll learn the same lesson that Bianca and Rhea did at WrestleMania. No one in this division can stop me or take this championship from Io Sky. Head point. Hell yeah, brother.
Another visual gag. The match starts off with Roxanne and Io in the match, or in the middle of the ring here.
Giulia's entrance was so sick. Again, like every time I've seen her so far, she's jumped in on her entrance was fantastic. A whole lot of smoke, the mask, like unbelievable.
Good stuff. This is another match where I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but after a certain point, everything is in caps for me. There's this drop kick by Rhea. Io Sky backflip to drop kick sequence. I think that is my move of the match there. Oh, no. It's the Hurricane Rana later. But yeah, no, just a lot of, like, this was by far the best match of the evening. Io with a leaping jump to tag in Rhea. German suplex by Rhea. Another Razor's Edge by Rhea. Perez kicks out at 2. My move of the match now is that Hurricane Rana by Roxanne to the cover on Rhea. This was a night of me handing out move of the matches to people I don't typically like. And you know what? That's called personal development. That's growth. My therapist is listening.
Again, this is this is honest journalism. We're here to give you everything.
We are unbiased.
So Giulia and Io both get a hot tag. Io hits the missile drop kick, does the flip up and the head point. Perez tries to cheap shot Io, but ends up hitting a tornado DDT on Rhea instead. Io hits the stomp, goes for the moonsault, and it's broken up by Roxanne. And then after this, Rhea literally picks up Io and like guides her to kick Giulia. Like they kind of point at each other. They're like, tag move. And then literally like Io just jumps and Rhea just swings her to kick Giulia. That was my move of the match. I love like tag stuff in the moment like that. And then they share a high 10. And then Rhea does the little head point. She does a small one, but she does it.
Rhea does the emote, and Io was so stoked about it.
So
She's
happy.
Like, ah! I loved that. That was awesome. Giulia suplexes Io from the top rope and then puts her up to cover her. Rhea makes the tag, pushes Giulia into Roxanne, who crossbodies her. A double pin after the riptide. Rhea's a good sport, but she still wants the title back. And as Rhea walks out of the ring, she smacks Io's butt.
I did see that.
Io
smiled so big.
Yeah, no, I loved that ending of like, yes, we're going to fight again for this title, but we're gonna have fun while we do it, and you gotta love Rhea and Io for it.
Absolutely. They're going to put on so many more banger matches before either of them hang it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Giulia and Roxanne are just proving that the women's division, like the women's side of things in the WWE, leaps and bounds.
Good for a long time.
Yeah.
They're going to be good for a very long
There's
time.
a lot of talent coming in from NXT. They're proving this on Raw, on SmackDown regularly. We're going to be talking a little bit more about some NXT stuff later at the end of the show here, so stick with us. But any thoughts about Raw from last night?
I just want to go back. We'll hit a couple of the
let's do that.
pre-tapes and things versus another Judgment Day sketch.
Yes.
So Raquel just says how much she misses Liv, and Carlito's like, well, maybe like we can go out sometime and we can use your credit card.
I can pay you back later.
I promise I'll pay you back later. Just Carlito, just so funny. Like always the star of every single Judgment Day backstage. Dom says that Liv says good morning, but he's confused because it's night, and they're like, Dom, this cannot be the first time you've heard of time zones. He's like, I don't care. I need to talk to Finn.
They pull the skull out to start explaining time zones to him. How scared do you think AJ Styles was?
Right, like after, because he basically went to Finn, like, Finn, you hesitated, and Finn's like, hey, you're starting to sound paranoid, like Damien and Rhea did when they were champions. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, let me go get ready for my match. And he walks back, and literally JD McDonough has the skull. He's like, all right, so this is the sun. This is us on Earth. And just starts moving it. And I'm like, that's actually, like, you know what? That's way better than, like, I think I actually wrote Judgment Day shows Dom a science fair project about time zones.
We also had another Rusev pre-tape. Rusev he's mad. He wants to clean up the company, etc., etc., etc.
We had Sammy and Punk backstage real quick. Sammy like, hey, we got to do this. Punk's like, I have a hard time trusting anyone right now. Sammy's like, I had trouble trusting you at War Games. That turned out all right, and we can't do anything with these guys in the way. Seth, in a different shot, says they probably feel like they have our backs to the wall. They feel like we underestimated them. They have no idea what I'm capable of. Seth then says, Braun, one more thing tonight before you take off, and whispers in his ear, pats him on the shoulder, and says, have some fun tonight.
Breakker is shaking with rage. Just shaking. Incredible performance from Braun Reichsteiner. We also get Jey Uso in our city. It's setting up for a fight with Logan Paul, but out comes Gunther. I think this is kind of interesting. It feels like now that the spot at WrestleMania is kind of wasted, but like I kind of like where this story is going, where Gunther's coming back for it. After this slight stumble at Backlash like this.
It was just kind of like a soft reset for him. It's like we're not putting him away, but we're going to give him something where... But again, I feel like there were plenty of people that feel like us and were like, yeah, Gunther can be the heel and mm-hmm. he can do whatever he wants to Pat McAfee. I don't care. Like, I know I feel better about Gunther after Sunday. After Saturday.
But don't hurt Jey Uso.
Yeah, not Jey Uso.
Don't hurt Jey Uso. We do also have a wonderful Sabu memorial from...
Well, hold on, before that. The thing with Gunther coming out was he announced that the Monday after Backlash, he will face the winner of the Jey Uso-Logan Paul match for the championship.
The Monday after Saturday night's main event.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said Backlash.
Backlash is over.
It's over.
It's in the rear view.
Jay says, I'm going to handle the YouTuber, then run it back with the Ring General.
And I'm gonna walk out the same way I walked out of WrestleMania. 4 letters, one word, yeet.
We also had a Sabu memorial, which was really, really nice to see from the WWE. They talk about him being a 2-time world ECW champion, his feud with Taz, who had worked with Michael Cole previously.
They were both commentators for SmackDown.
Yes, Taz now works for AEW.
Yes.
We
had one other. We had Ludwig backstage with Jackie Redmond. I was literally thinking literally I put Ludwig with Jackie Redmond diversion because she's like, oh, like last year you're doing all this. We haven't really seen you a whole lot. Mm-hmm. You were a top contender. What happens? And then you hear like a pipe drop and they're like, hold on, we got to go down the hall. And they like, chug a lug down the hall. Mm-hmm. And they see that Braun Breaker has laid out Jay. Wait. Did he lay out Jay or did he lay out Sam?
He laid out Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Sammy and Punk arrive after security and refs call for a medic.
Oh my God, yeah, that's what I was laughing at, how Sammy kept going, get a medic! Get a medic!
The man walking backstage, Becky Lynch walking backstage. Did you see Karrion Kross handing out shirts to the New Day?
No.
Karrion Kross handing out shirts to the New Day.
I love it.
I can't wait to see where that goes. The man up on the turnbuckle. She says, I wasn't beaten. Lyra was beaten. Becky didn't have to go to the hospital. She went back to her trailer and enjoyed some tequila. I gave Lyra the best match of her life. They're finally realize what it feels like to be held down by the man.
When the bell rang, I didn't hear defeat. I heard an alarm bell of how much I was manipulated by Lyra and you. I won, and y'all couldn't see yourself in me because all you know is failure.
Here's my notes on the Rusev pre-tape. He didn't want to have to do this. I don't want to do any of this.
I wanted to go home and be rich.
We all need to wake up. Tozawa, he fucked around. He found out. Tozawa now wants a match, but he's not medically cleared. Sheamus walks in, a walking, talking stereotype with the shillelagh. I do want to mention that shillelaghs only exist because Irish people weren't allowed to own swords or guns while the English oppressed them. It wasn't a famine. It was forced starvation.
4 letters, one word.
Yeet. We also, I didn't know if you caught this on your end of the broadcast. I think I'm going to just start watching Raw on my VPN in the UK and see if I get stuff that we miss watching it with commercials in the US. Because we come back at the end, Grayson Waller. Oh shoot. No. That was earlier.
So I know what you're saying, because at the end of Sheamus in the back, he's like, what about next week? Sheamus versus Grayson Waller. And he says, consider it official. And then there was a point
earlier in the taping
where you got like 4 seconds of not even.
And Waller.
Yeah, where you didn't even hear him say anything. It was like that last kind of look at the camera. And we've said that a couple times before. It's like, oh, someone might have jumped a cue or the timing was a little off.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like, it's different. There's different, they have one broadcast feed and then they're splitting that up for different regions. So, yes. Again, Celtic Warrior versus Grayson Waller. Pierce likes it, makes it official. Quote, that sounds like a banger. And now we're going to go take a quick break, but we'll be right back. We've got some updates on Saturday night's main event later on this month. SNL doesn't want to have a show Memorial Day weekend. Who does? And then we'll also talk a little bit about Battleground, which will be happening the end of this month as well. There's some really exciting matches happening then as well. But we'll be right back here on The C Show. Welcome back to the C Show. We're here on our final segment of the evening. We've got 2 matches announced for Saturday night's main event later this month, May 24th on Peacock, another PLE. I think we're probably going to get Jesse the Body on commentary again.
That would be awesome.
Again, that's like the best part about it is
yes.
Jesse the Body. There's all of like the retro. It's a whole retro throwback. I love it. The 2 matches that we know of right now are CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker in a tag team match. I think this is really going to be exciting because Seth and Braun Breaker are 2 very different wrestlers, whereas Punk and Sami Zayn kind of have an overlap in terms of like how they work. I'm really interested to see this with Sami Zayn's medical clearance after Rumble, right? No, Elimination Chamber, excuse me, after he was medically cleared after that.
After the unsanctioned match with Kevin Owens.
The sanctioned match. The sanctioned, unsanctioned match. So that'll be exciting. And again, we get this continuation of the Punk-Seth storyline, where this goes next. I think it's going to be really interesting, and we'll see more. And we'll talk more about it here on the C Show. The other match that we are aware of right now is Logan Paul versus Jey Uso for the Heavyweight Championship. So, 4 letters, 1 word. Yeet. Kill the YouTuber. Moving on, we've got Battleground.
Unalive the YouTuber.
Unalive the YouTuber. And then moving on, we've got Battleground in Tampa. That'll be the same weekend. We've got Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace for the singles NXT Women's Championship. Honestly, I think with how they've hyped up Stephanie Vaquer recently, I think she's getting promoted to Raw or SmackDown. I think Jordan's going to win the title, and then it's just going to be a chance to promote Stephanie up, which is great for both of them.
Yeah, no, that's my exact thought.
Our other match that we're going to talk about here is Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry for the TNA World Championship. And you might be thinking, Charlie, why does that matter? Well, TNA and WWE are competitors, right? It's like
they were for the longest time.
They were for the longest time, right? Like 1 and 2. And with the recent partnership between TNA and WWE, we've seen Joe Hendry appear at a couple of major PLEs. He was at Royal Rumble. He fought against Randy Orton in Mania. I was watching the Chris Van Vliet interview with Joe Hendry that just came out. And he will be facing, again, Trick Williams for the TNA World Championship. This is the first time a TNA title is on the line during a WWE event. So some news as well here is Hendry's TNA contract is up in 12 months as well. I think all signs are basically pointing to him signing with the WWE, especially after Mania, how well that's gone for him and for the company, frankly. And I think there's also just a really exciting things going on with the developmental pipeline of TNA to NXT to WWE.
Yeah, there's a lot of stars, there in the WWE now that left and really cut their teeth. LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, just to name a couple, right? There's been plenty of people who have left WWE and found great success in TNA. Mm-hmm. And so just hoping this stays like, a good working relationship and doesn't end up like every other promotion that's ever teamed up with WWE.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for us here on The C Show. We know we've gone a little long here, but we appreciate you making it all the way here. Again, if you haven't, please subscribe, please rate, please review the show. We really appreciate you. Please tell your friends about the show. You have a friend that likes wrestling, please tell them about our show.
You have a friend that likes us?
Yeah, honestly. Hey, do you have a friend that hates their drive to work? We want to make it more fun. That's the goal. All right. Well, this has been The C Show. Of course you like The C Show. Make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share our podcast with your friends. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, and YouTube at CShowPod. You have questions for the boys? Send us an email, cshowpod@gmail.com. Thanks to our friends, Amir and Patrick, for their assistance. The C Show is a production of 832 Media. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Chunky.